I'm speaking off the cuff. And the title of this is Bernie Sanders Was a Distraction. It's a theory. Bernie Sanders was never meant to win the election. He wasn't even meant to actually make it into the primaries. He was meant to remove an entire voting bloc away from the Democrats and Republicans and isolate them into this progressive nonsense land, into this world of absolute nonsense of free health care and free college tuition and amnesty for all, this social justice, economic justice, racial justice. And once Bernie Sanders goes in there and makes all these promises and builds them up, then the Democratic establishment was going to completely break them by denying Bernie Sanders the popular vote, denying Bernie Sanders any chance that he was ever going to make it to the White House. And even though Bernie Sanders took a clear lead in some areas, Clinton still came in and whooped him. And that was the point, was to alienate and isolate an entire voting bloc. And even if that cost the Democrats the election, it still meant that they were able to suppress this insurrection before it started to take hold of the party and destroy it from within. It should go without saying that progressivism would not last 1 minute in the Republican establishment, so we're not even going to go there. What should be said is, how come this would even happen to begin with? I mean, I thought that the Democrats loved the progressives. I thought Democrats were progressives. No. Democrats are liberals. Yeah, there's a twinge of socialism in there. There's a twinge of capitalism in there. But more or less, Democrats tend to be wealthy 1% liberals. Mark Zuckerberg, perfect example, right? And when you see this entire movement, and what they are is they are herd managers. They have an entire voting block. They have an entire voting block, and they separate them into herds and then try to move them every election cycle into the areas that they need them to go in order to push their policy forward. So one herd will move into racial injustice with Black Lives Matter. Another herd will move into social justice with third wave feminism and intersectional feminism. Just a way of corralling people via ideas. And what had happened was progressivism started to take hold in the era of Obama. And these new progressives that were coming out, well, I mean, you have to just take a look at them, go into Tumblr. I mean, they're completely fucking useless. They live in a completely isolated reality from everybody else. You know this. They're absolutely fucking cuckoo crazy. And if they were to actually rise up and take control of the Democratic Party, that would be it for the establishment. And it would be hell to pay with both the Democrats and the Republicans and any independent, because once you start saying, oh man, we're going to give you free this, free that, and we're going to rob the 1% in order to get that because they're racist and you're good people, oh, it's fucking over. This has been taught to us in public education from kindergarten to high school and then into public universities, and then it's carried forward in the media that America is bad, it's evil, white people are evil, it's the cisgendered patriarchy capitalist system that must be overthrown. And it's bullshit, right? They started to see this movement rise up, and they needed a distraction in order to isolate that voting bloc, build them up with promises, and then at the 9th hour to completely break their spirit and remove them from the democratic process for at least just this one cycle. So the question is, why? I remember when I was young, maybe 4 or 5 years old, going to a party with my grandparents. And I got dressed up. I wore slacks and nice shoes and a button-down shirt I tucked in. And we arrived and walked in, and, you know, it was really nice carpet, and everybody was wearing good clothes. Men were wearing ties, and and cardigans, and women were wearing dresses and heels, and there's alcohol and Vienna sausages, and it was very upper crust Seattle. It was a very upper crust Seattle kind of a party. And I wasn't the only kid there. There were quite a few kids there, but they were all roughhousing and running around and hanging on to their parents and saying, I'm bored, and just getting into shit. And it was distracting to all the adults who wanted to have a couple drinks and eat some Vienna sausages and talk adult things, right? Get down to business. And then I remember this teenage kid, this goofy-looking teenager, pulled us aside and, with the blessing of his mother or father, I forget, took us downstairs into his den, so to speak, where he had a Nintendo, which had just come out at that point, an Atari, a bunch of Star Wars toys, He-Man, massive VHS collection. We were absolutely enthralled playing Duck Hunt all night long. What he did was he distracted us so that the parents could actually get on with it and have their party. And that is exactly what the Democrats have done to Bernie Sanders. And that is exactly what the Democrats have done to the progressive base. And Bernie Sanders is that goofy kid that pulled them all aside to distract them with kittens and social justice so that the real Democratic Party could actually get to work. This is Derrick with the Right Alt Podcast. Thank you for stopping by our channel on YouTube. Look for more videos in the future. If you like what we're saying, click the like button, subscribe to us, and share with your friends. Thank you. Have a great day.